Fight Against Corruption, Akufo-Addo forwards petition seeking removal of Special Prosecutor to Chief Justice. All right, let me just read that story from citynewsroom.com. Akufo-Addo forwards petition to remove Special Prosecutor to CJ. Now, a petition seeking to remove the Special Prosecutor, Kisia Jabeng, has been forwarded to Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu by President Akufo-Addo. Now, the petition submitted by former Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu calls for President Akufo-Addo to remove Mr. Jabeng from his position. Now, dated April 30th, 2024, the petition alleges procurement breaches in the purchase of vehicles for the office of the Special Prosecutor and accuses Mr. Jabeng of misconduct involving judges and the administration of justice. Now, Mr. Amidu's petition includes allegations of violations of citizens' rights through arrests and detentions, breaches of the right to information, and improper appointments of personnel to the OSP. Now, the impeachment process appears to be linked to a controversial press conference held by Mr. Jabeng, during which he claimed that judges had conspired against him. Excuse me. Mr. Amidu argues that these remarks constitute abuse of judges and bring the judiciary into disrepute. This development follows reports that Mr. Jabeng refused demands to resign, choosing instead to hold a press conference to express his frustrations with his role. Additionally, Mr. Amidu asserts that the Special Prosecutor abused the rights of individuals such as Cecilia Dapa and Professor Frimpong Boateng by arresting them. Let me start with you, Paul. Your thoughts on this story.
Okay. Once again, good morning, and good morning to our viewers. And good morning, my brother. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate you lost on the Europa Conference League, but that is how Chelsea is built. You can never say never to us. We were on the 10th, and you kept pulling our legs that we are nothing to write home about.
Chelsea is doing papa.
And today,
how is that linked to corruption?
Today, when it comes to the table, we all know where we are. Anyway, let's go on. Now, on the 30th of April, the Venerable John Alamisi Kaiser submitted a petition to the President for the removal of the office, or should I say the Special Prosecutor. And per the Act establishing the Special Prosecutor's Office, Act 959, it is stated in there clearly that within 7 days upon receipt of such a petition, the President is supposed to forward same to the CJ. Now, on the 6th of May, the petition was forwarded to the CJ, and then the CJ also likewise wrote to the Special Prosecutor requesting for his comment regarding the petition.
Yeah.
I have an issue with the CJ's request to the Special Prosecutor, and I'll come to that in a bit. Now, let's look at the petition in itself. The petitioner, hereinafter known as the former Special Prosecutor, some of us advocated for his appointment. Some of us are on record to have written copiously on his selection, and thank God he was appointed. Some of us again were disappointed when he left or vacated the office, citing various reasons, even to the point of saying that the President is the mother serpent of corruption.
Yeah.
All right. In fact, 6 issues the petitioner raises, and if with your permission, I would just want to take all of us through the prayers of the petitioner. 1 says encroachment of authority, and then 2, inducement of staff from sister agencies, i.e. the police and then IOCO. And then 3, abuse of citizens' rights through arrest and detention. 4, abuse of the judiciary, 5, procurement breaches, and then 6, disregard for the RTI law. Now, with the encroachment of the authority, he alleges that the staff of the OSP, i.e. The OSP appointing 2 directors at the time he had no board. You see, this is an office he left. He knew the challenges that office went through. He knows the struggle. All right?
Yeah.
There was no point in time, as far as that office is concerned, for that office to function by our political actors. If you ask me, the executive did not even want that office to function. They struggled with even funds to go about their daily operations. And then this man decided to take the horns by the bull by the horns, right? Mm-hmm. And decided to go ahead. The only issue perhaps we can establish over there is whether or not after the board was formed, was the actions of the OSP ratified by the board. If we can establish so, that indeed the actions of the OSP prior to the formation of the board was not ratified, then we have an issue. Because, mind you, he reports to the board. Okay?
Yeah.
And that board was supposed to be set up by who? By the president. He cannot get up, decide on his own that I am setting up a board.
His own board.
So the board necessarily must be set up by the president, and then he in turn reports to them. So in the absence of the board, he shouldn't work. Is that what we are saying? That is one. Then secondly, he mentioned the issue of inducement from sister agencies, i.e. Yoko, and then the police. So his contention is that he more or less poached them with higher salaries and then higher ranks if they decided to join the office of the special prosecutor. And so by virtue of that, most of these personnel resigned from the police one, and then they also resigned from Yoko, and then applied to the OSP.
Yeah.
So the question that will come up is, did the OSP put a gun to the necks of these personnel for them to resign from their various positions at the police service and then at Yoko to apply to the office of the special prosecutor? That would be the question. If we can establish that indeed there was a gun on the neck of these people to leave their office and then join the special prosecutor, then we can establish him. But none of this is done. So these are quite flimsy, if you ask me. Then the third one, it says abuse of citizens' rights through arrest and detentions. Come on. Has any of these individuals who were arrested, the CEO of La Bianca, Cecilia Benadapa, the customs officers, has any of them come out to say that they did not go through the processes, I mean the judicial processes that they must all go through prior to their arrest and then during their arrest? Were any of their rights abused in any way? I mean, they have the courts to themselves. They could, I mean, seek redress. Yeah. So if a former OSP comes out to say that these individuals' rights were abused, on what grounds? Yeah. Then we go to abuse of the judiciary. Yeah. You recall that in November last year, we were here. Some of us even criticized the OSP for coming out with some of the utterances that it made. Be that as it may, the OSP, by its act, is supposed to have media engagement with the citizenry. You tell us what the cases you have gone through, and then you also, by way of report, make the citizens aware of some of the progress that you have also made with the arrest and what have you that you have done. That, for me, should not be an issue. How is he abusing the judiciary? He just came out to criticize the rulings of the judiciary. And I think that every other Ghanaian even out there, ordinary Ghanaians criticize the judiciary sometimes with this ruling. So what is so unique, what is so special about the OSP criticizing the work of the judiciary? I think it's within its right to have done so.
Yeah.
The fifth one is procurement breaches. That for me is an issue. And so if indeed we can establish that the OSP breached any of the procurement laws, then we have every right, every single right to make him face the full rigors of the law.
Okay.
Because, mind you, this is an institution that should be blemished. All right? It shouldn't have any issue of corruption or any breach of the law. Because you are an office that is supposed to spearhead corruption and anything related to corruption.
Yeah.
And where we have that office that is supposed to be superintending or spearheading some of these things, and you are also found foul of the law, then we have lost it.
Okay.
All right? Then the last part has to do with the disregard for the RTI law. The OSP, the former OSP, i.e. Kaiser, requested from the OSP to furnish him with the salaries of the staff, one, and then also the various positions or ranks of the staff on a pen drive. And then the OSP denied. This is what pushed him to write to the president seeking for his removal. And per Act 959, 15.1, with your permission, I just want to take a quick bite. Stated that, one, the grounds for removal from the office. Stated misbehavior or incompetence, A. B, incapacity to perform the functions of the office by reason of infirmity of body or mind. And then C, willful violation of the official oath or oath of secrecy. D, conduct I brings or is likely to bring the office of the special prosecutor into disrepute, ridicule, or contempt, or II is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or the security of the state. These are the grounds. And then the last one, a person who seeks to remove the special prosecutor from office, that we have already gone through. These are the grounds for which the special prosecutor can be removed from office. I mean, the only issue perhaps per the sixth petition, the prayers the petitioner is seeking from the president, perhaps will be the procurement breaches, perhaps. And even with that, it's more or less an administrative issue that cannot solely hang
on his neck,
on the neck of the special prosecutor.
Okay, all right.
So that for me is a non-starter. Right. Yes.
Yes, Kapite.
I'm grateful my brother has done a lot of the technical side of it. Let me first, on the issue of corruption, let me first applaud the president for setting up the office of a special prosecutor. It was good. Appointing a young OSP was fantastic. And we listened to some of them when they said, this guy is too young, that's a position, his age, you know. We had all of them. For me, loudmouth, I was here. I said, no, it's not about age. The whole of this country, Ghana, was once governed by a 31-year-old.
Yeah.
So at his age, to be OSP, it was just a normal thing, better and perfect. Then, you know, let's kudos to the president and his ministers for continuing to support the state agencies that are in charge of, you know, managing corruption. Now let's get to the real issues around this one. When they set up the office of the special prosecutor, the inadequate resourcing of that office raised eyebrows, even starting with the petitioner himself.
Yeah.
The number of times he spoke. You remember what he used to write?
He used to write a lot. Yeah.
Not a lot, the epistles.
Yeah.
The preachings. Look, I'm controlling myself. This country, some people and their behavior. We have to write it. If I got any of those structural drivers, I'll let them write it at the back of their car. Some people and their behavior. Some people and their behavior. You see, it's so easy, but let's go on. The obstructing the work of the OSP to the extent that the man came public. Remember when he cried? The OSP.
Yes, I remember.
Yes,
That
yes,
was
yes,
in
yes.
November.
Yes. And so any day, I'll write it on my Facebook page, and the OSP cried. Why did he cry? I'm sure he cried ahead of today, where we are today. He saw it coming. These things, he saw them coming. But you see, the president has forwarded the petition for the removal of the OSP. It's good. Like my brother said, constitutionally, there's no wrong with it. But I'll end it by saying, but time will tell. Time will tell. So let's continue. The petitioner has his right to take these actions, okay? The other side of it is that we, the observers, we also have our right, we preserve our right to hold our minds. As I read, I'm not a lawyer, okay? I'm not a lawyer. I have no legal training, but I can read the Constitution, and I can read human behavior. I know interest of man, the interest of man, and the interest of state. When you see it, and you see where they are running, you will see. So we have also, he has his right to petition. He has done so. The president has forwarded it. These are all correct processes. I remember who the petitioner is dealing with. The petitioner once upon a time called the same person he's passing his petition to the mother serpent of corruption. So now he believes the man not to be a corrupt? Or he's okay dealing with the corrupt man?
Well, he doesn't. It's if he really feels that he needs to petition, the only person he can petition is the president. So he doesn't have a choice in that matter. Yes, sir. So maybe reluctantly he's writing to him.
You see how you just said this last statement? Maybe.
Yeah.
That is our mind. The court of public opinion is the biggest court. We have our minds. Time will tell, my brother. Time will tell. In all things, look at some of the things that are happening today with our judiciary, with our executive, with parliament, the three arms of government. And yesterday's happenings, you better understand them. When the stories were told yesterday, people used their tongue, this same tongue, twisted it left and right and center to explain things to us. But today, the happenings of today is throwing more light on how human beings can be so self-centered, so that everything they do, you can see them, and nothing around everybody's perfect belonging. It's about them. So let's go on. The way forward, the Chief Justice has received the petition. She will act according to the law.
Yeah.
Mind you, I will tell you something. You know those presidents who are staying in office in Africa here for 2 terms, 3 terms, 40 terms, 40 years. Families that have governed one country for like for 40 years and 50 years. You know they use the law. The law, the same law. The law. So let's move on. And then the president will act according to the outcomes of the legal processes. The same law. So we'll follow the law. The citizens will get the information. We'll get the information from at the end of the day when the laws have taken place, we'll get the information. But I've told you, our minds, you can't change it. You can do everything with the law and pass whatever process stuff. We'll have our minds. You see, these actions will either, this is the most important place, it will either positively or negatively affect the perception index of this country when it comes to the fight of corruption. If you watch the corruption perception index that the Ghana Integrity Initiative, the local chapter of Transparency International brought out, you look at it. These are the things that they gather the information from to score our points. If you go out there right now and ask the average Ghanaian what's their view, when we have seen the special prosecutor, the mission, we've seen state institutions come out to say things, and then his department. You remember when the I think just quite recently, the Yoko came out to say that they are now thinking of forwarding back the documents to them, and they said no, you forwarded it to us months ago. So you see, the fight against him, we have seen a little. We've seen state institutions, we've seen back and forth, and he has come public to say it. That's a good thing about it. If he was removed before he came out to say some of the things he has told us, we would have had a different mindset. Yeah. But he has said all these and come public with the boldness to say all these things. So it's enough. For this topic, I won't say much. Okay. I said, let us just mark it on the walls of history. We'll come back.
All right. We are still here on the news review segment, and we're having these conversations. My guest here are Jeffrey Kapiteo-Kansi with Revenue Mobilization Africa, and Paul Eric Ofori, who is with COPEC. And we're going to go into the next story, but before we do that, Paul quickly wants to add one or two things to the earlier conversation. Paul.
Yes, with regards to the petition submitted to the president, others are also of the view that there have been earlier petitions to the president,
which were not dealt with as swiftly,
where the president more or less sat on them.
He still hasn't.
He didn't sit on them. He's lost them. They're not on the
Let
table.
me just put it that way. All right?
Maybe he misplaced those ones.
He has misplaced them.
That the office to date hasn't coughed or said anything about those petitions.
Okay.
So what happened to them? Now, with this particular one, the office seemed a bit swift, submitted same to the CJ. Now, in my earlier statement, I said I was against the CJ's request to the Office of the Special Prosecutor requesting for his comments. You see, the task of the CJ is pretty simple. Yours is to establish a prima facie case, establish whether or not indeed there's a case to be had against the special prosecutor, right?
Yes.
That is basically it.
Yes.
So you have a petitioner. All you do is to request from the petitioner what his grounds are. If he is able to provide same, then you go ahead because you have a time frame within which to come up. Because within 14 days, we are supposed to hear from you, the CJ, and then within 90 days, if you set up that committee, the committee is also supposed to come up with its findings. And then the final decision will be had, by Parliament, whether or not you are supposed to be impeached, all right? I do not think that writing to the special prosecutor to request for his comment was necessary.
Okay.
She should have gone ahead with the petition, request from the petitioner, that is Martin Amidu, so that Martin Amidu will provide you the evidence and whatever that you needed to go ahead to establish the prima facie case. Again, this is an individual who seemed to be fighting on his own. Listen, every year we lose 2 billion USD, not Ghanaian cedis, USD, to corruption. Look at the money laundering going on all over. And he seems to be alone, fighting a lone battle.
Yeah.
And then he presents a docket to you, Iyoko. You write back to him that per the advice of the Attorney General, there's no merit in the case. The case is hollow. And so we can't do anything. We can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Why?
Please, okay.
Why?
Wrap it up for me.
Why is the special prosecutor being sidelined? He doesn't seem to have any help coming from anywhere. And then today we are here about to put him on the slaughterhouse to slaughter him just because he's fighting the system.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll leave him with this quote.
Okay.
The special prosecutor, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Then this is from Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay.
So special prosecutor, just relax, go through it, and I don't want to behave like the president when he said about Cecilia Dapa that he knows that he will come up victoriously. I know that whatever the law says, the law will always be on the side of the vulnerable. Yes.
All right. Okay.